Okay, so I'm back and I wanted to make another video. I'm going to try to start making more videos on a regular basis. But for today, I wanted to talk about Trump and the presidency and coronavirus. Now, I've looked online and I don't see a lot of information about the coronavirus. So just real quick, I want to summarize what my understanding is of the coronavirus. In simplest terms, it's the flu. Okay, it's a strain of influenza, but it's a new strain that we have not seen before. It originated, to the best of our knowledge, in China, in the Wuhan province. Now, at this point, let me just jump in and say there's a theory, not sure how accurate it is, that it came from a biological warfare facility in China. All I want to say about that is I'm sure China has biological warfare labs, but if their big play is to work with the flu, they might be doing it wrong. And if that's the biggest conspiracy theory we can come up with, we might need to try harder. But wherever it came from and whatever you think, that's fine. So if the coronavirus is just the flu, and it's just a new strain that has presented itself, what's the big deal? Well, because it's new, we're not familiar with it. Because it's new, we don't have a vaccination for it. And because we have learned that it can spread prior to symptoms showing up, this becomes problematic. It has spread on a somewhat global level already. And most recently, it's been noted to have been found in Iran and Italy. It's already in the U.S. There's cases in China, obviously, where it originated. Korea. It's all over to a simple degree. And the likelihood is that it's going to spread more. And the likelihood is that even here in the U.S., it's going to continue to spread. So what's the risk? What's the issue? Does everybody need to panic? Do we need to go out and buy masks? What is the theory? Do we have to change our lifestyle? Well, the only real lifestyle change you might need to make is to be a little bit more conscientious about what it takes to not spread a virus. Wash your hands frequently. If you're in contact with other people, wash your hands or use hand sanitizer. As a general rule of thumb, that's good policy anyway, in my opinion. If you show symptoms of the flu or something similar, try not to go out in public. If you have to, try to make sure that if you're going to cough, you cover your mouth. If you do cough, make sure you wash your hands afterwards. If you come in contact with other people, try not to let them cough in your face. Standard basic etiquette for not spreading a virus. It's good policy here. So who's at risk? Well, the real risk comes with really old people or really young people or people that, for whatever reason, have a comprised immune system. If you're overweight, if you have diabetes, if you got heart condition, if whatever you have causes you to have difficulty breathing to begin with, or it's problematic, your respiratory system has issues, then that can be a problem, because if you catch the flu or the coronavirus, same thing, just different strains, depends on which one we're talking about, it's going to impact your respiratory system. It can turn into pneumonia, and that can become problematic. So that's something to be aware of. Normal, typical, everyday healthy people, if they contract it, they're going to have the flu. Most times, they're going to get over it. just like they would with any other case of the flu, and then they'll move on. Once you contract it and you recover from it, you don't catch it again. The problem, as I've said, is it can spread. It can spread quickly, and it can spread before you show symptoms. So if this comes into a high population density area where you have a lot of older people or younger people or people with comprised immune systems, that can be where it's really problematic. Can someone who is of good health and middle to young age, not young like child, but 20s, have a problem and die from this? Yes. It's very, very rare, but it is a possibility. People die from influenza, which is the flu, every year. It happens. It's an unfortunate and typically unexpected occurrence, but it can happen. So again, what's the basic theory here? Just live your life like normal, but the U.S., Trump has issued travel bans, travel restrictions. They don't want people from highly affected areas to come to the U.S., and we don't want people from the U.S. to go to highly infected areas. Common sense stuff, if you ask me. So globally, we're trying to deal with it. Here in the United States, we're trying to deal with it. I think we're doing a pretty decent job. Just people need to not panic. It's not something to panic about. You just need to be aware of what's going on. That said, let's talk about Trump. Now, I'm not a big fan of Trump. I don't like Trump. I don't consider myself a Republican, but I also don't consider myself a Democrat. That doesn't really matter. Let's move on. Today, Trump had a news conference pertaining to the coronavirus. And my real issue with Trump is that I do not like the way he presents himself. As a leader and as a president, as someone who is a representative and a leader of the country that I live in, I am very embarrassed about his behavior quite often. I actually am surprised he got elected with some of the things he has done and said, but he is elected, he is the president. I just wish he would behave in a more appropriate manner. His behavior is typical of kids that you see on the internet that are just having flame wars and trolling each other. It's not the typical behavior I would consider a leader, a president, or someone in charge should show. He has a tendency to call people names, and when somebody does something he doesn't like, he has a tendency to punish them. And as a president, he has a capacity to initiate some punishments without any recourse against him that I don't think are really good. So today, during this news conference, he talked about the coronavirus. There were other people there as well, but he was there, and he talked about it, and he was asked questions by the news media, and I was really impressed. And coming from someone that doesn't like Trump, this is saying a lot. I was really impressed with the way he handled this. He spoke confidently, but not cockily. He did not come across as superior or demeaning to others. And even when the news media posed questions in such a way that they were obvious attacks against him, which, by the way, is a real big pet peeve of mine. I don't care which side of the aisle it's coming from. If you can't represent news as simple facts, then you're doing it wrong, and it just makes me angry. But unfortunately, the news medias cannot, and that's just something that we got to live with, I guess. But even when the news media presented questions as an attack, he just dealt with them. He didn't get angry. He turned those questions around and gave answers that were very positively spun, but I think that they were accurate. And I got to give him a lot of credit for that. I think he did really well. So that's the coronavirus. That's my current take on Trump. And thanks for watching. I hope everybody has a good day and stay safe.